welcome back to Rough Edit. It's Sunday again, and this week we're trying another After Effects tutorial. The last one did pretty well, and a lot of people seem to really like it, so we're going to do another one today. And today we're going to be doing this effect. So it's pretty basic. It's just a guy running into the street and getting hit by a car. It's an effect that you would think would be difficult, but you're going to find it surprisingly easy. So let's start looking at what we have. So to start, when you're going out and filming for this, you're going to need 3 layers. Usually you can get away with only having 2 of these, but you want to have the third one just in case. The most important 2 are having your actual footage of your character running. And as you can see, he runs into the street. And he's like, oh no, a car, ah! But all he does is put his arms up and stop. The second footage you're going to want is the actual footage of the car driving through the scene. Now this car is going through a little slow for my taste, but we can fix that later and I'll show you how. So down here I already have the project completed, but I have the layers laid out in a way where you can see what I did a lot easier. So what you're going to want to put in first is your main footage here, which is your main character running into the street and freezing. After you have that in, the second thing you need to do is go up and find your footage of your car. Find right around the area the car actually enters the frame. Then click this button here, which sets an in point and makes it so that your clip starts from there. Then you can grab that and drag it down into the timeline. First of all, let's deal with this car footage. This car passed through the shot at much too slow of a speed to make this effect convincing. So we need to take care of that. All you need to do is right click, go to time, enable time remapping. Then this small option comes up underneath your clip that says time remap. And it already has the stopwatch connected to it. So all you have to do is set a keyframe at the beginning and a keyframe after your car leaves the frame. Now what you're going to do is grab this last keyframe that you set here and drag it closer. Basically what you're doing here is compressing time. You're saying this is the beginning and this is the end, and then you're shrinking what happens in the middle. So now the car goes through the shot at a much faster speed, but we still have one more problem. The car doesn't have any motion blur. To fix that, you go into Effects and Presets and search Motion. You grab Pixel Motion Blur and drag it onto your layer. What that does is it simulates a motion blur for things found in your scene. So you can see now with pixel motion blur on, the car looks like it's actually moving fast, where with it off, the car just looks like it's pretty much standing still. What you need to do is put the car footage underneath the footage of your person actually running into the street. Then after that, you go into your footage of your character actually running into the street, find the first frame where the car enters the footage, and if you split up your clips correctly, that should be really easy to do. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab the pen tool up here, or you can hit G if you want to use a hotkey and be one of the coolest kids around town. Then with your character layer footage selected, you simply draw a mask around the outside of your car. Once you have that, go down into the mask options down here and feather it out just about 4 frames. It doesn't have to be exact, you can just do whatever you want. And you want to set the mask to subtract, so that instead of only including the thing inside the mask, it includes everything outside the mask except for what's inside the mask. After that, you want to go to Mask Path and you want to click the stopwatch. What the stopwatch does is it tells After Effects that every single frame that you move this mask, you want it to remember where it goes and remember where it's been. So if I move forward if I start here and I move forward 2 frames and move this mask like way over here, then I can go back 2 frames and it remembers and it makes a path there. If I were to not have mask path selected and I went forward 2 frames and moved this, then when I came back 2 frames, it would stay in the exact same spot. So that's probably the most important thing. If you don't come away from this tutorial knowing anything else, know to always remember to set your mask path, because otherwise you're going to spend hours rotoscoping something out and then realizing that you forgot to press it and you have to start all over again. I already have a mask that follows my car, so I'm going to delete this one. But as you can see, you just go every single frame, you go forwards, and you move this mask just a little bit further. Because for now where we are, we want to keep most of the plate footage that includes the character. However, you only have to mask until the car comes in contact with your character. At that point, what you do is you come down into your character footage and you grab the end of it like this, and you just pull it back to the frame where the car comes in contact with your character. After that, you duplicate your character footage, go in, delete the mask, extend it out, and cut it like this so that it continues on exactly from where you were. Then you're going to make another mask around your character. Try not to have as many jagged edges as I'm having, but I'm trying to kind of save some time here. And if you actually hold down when you click, it can make a curved edge, and those are actually better to use. In this kind of situation, you're going to be better off making your mask a little bit too constrictive instead of accidentally including some of the background, because once we get him moving with the car, all you're going to see is colors, and if one of those colors is of the background and not of your character, it's going to be really obvious that you messed up. So don't do it. Just cut the inside of the character. So I just jumped ahead to the rotoscoping I already had done in another layer. It's a lot smoother, and no one wants to sit and watch me rotoscope for hours. That is not fun, trust me. So once we have him masked out, guess what we do next? You guessed it. You go down into the mask options, you feather it 4 frames, and you click on the stopwatch for mask path. Now, it only takes our car so many frames, probably like 5 or 6, until the front of the car is out of the footage. So we really only need to go 4 or 5 frames ahead and make sure we move our mask so that he's still included in it at the end of those frames. So let's just imagine I rotoscoped him out every single frame, and I'm just going to jump ahead. So the next thing you want to do after you have him rotoscoped out for 4 or 5 consecutive frames is you want to come up and click on the puppet pin tool. The puppet pin tool is a lot of fun, but be very careful where you use it, because it can automatically make things look very cheap and cheesy. But for this, what we're trying to do is just kind of like bring down his shoulders so that he hits the car and doesn't just get pushed along standing up. So the way the puppet pin tool works is it makes joints wherever you put a pinpoint. So try to kind of include them on all the main joints of his body. And then from there, if you do it right, and After Effects likes to be really temperamental about this, so even if you do it the exact same way twice, sometimes it doesn't work. You can just kind of like bend your characters around and have a good time. So, from there, what you want to do is go down into Transform and press the stopwatch for position. And while we're at it, just do Scale and Rotation, just in case we decide to rotate him. Then we grab this, and this is the frame where he's getting hit by the car. So let's take his arms down, and his back, and his head. And he's kind of like in the middle of getting hit, and we want to actually click off of the puppet and just kind of drag the whole thing over, because that's where he would actually be right now. So he's kind of in the middle of getting hit. We go forward one more frame. We grab him. We scoot him over. And then we just kind of, let's lift him up a little bit. We just kind of completely collapse him onto the car. It looks pretty stupid. Let's be honest with ourselves here. It looks pretty stupid. But once you go every single frame and move him onto the hood of the car for every single frame, here's where you make it actually look good, and it's the simplest secret in the world. All you have to do is go down, and on this ball that looks like it's being thrown, that's the motion blur tab. You just check that option and make sure that enable motion blur up here is also activated. Then, as soon as he gets hit, he's blurred out, and it looks a whole lot better. So that's pretty much it. The further you go, the more you can do with this effect, but the basics of it we've covered here, and it's pretty easy. So just follow these simple steps, and you too could be hitting your friends with cars. Thanks.